Good morning, friends. Welcome to Go Long, the show that focuses on local sports and faith, includes thought-provoking interviews with area coaches, players, and sports figures, unashamed Bible discussion, and the one and only, it's back, the popular and entertaining WOYK Scoreboard Show. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B.
Good morning.
All right, thanks for being with us because we've got a dandy. With us this morning will be York Catholic's head football coach and athletic director, Bob Hayek, and the splendid Spartan himself, Scott Geis, with a York College fall sports preview. As Paul addressed believers in Rome and explained his mission in the book of Romans, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. You know, that is our mission on Go Long. As we celebrate the accomplishments of our local athletes, coaches, and sports figures, we do so in an unashamed, faith-based way. All right, throughout the show, please text your prayer requests to 717-350-8591, and our prayer warriors will go to pray for you and your loved ones. Hey, today's Bible topic is grit. Becky B, do you have grit?
I think sometimes I do. Maybe not as much as you do.
No, I think so too. You know, it's red hot at hot. It's downtown Ollie Brown. Grab the mustard, because it's a grand salami. This is the Grand Salami of faith-based sports radio shows, brought to you by our friends Kelsey Jean and Collie Jane at Red Barn Home Decors and Sports Radio WOYK 98.9 FM, 1350 AM. First in York, first in sports, Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. Alrighty, friends, you wanted it, you asked for it, and you're going to get it. This is the WOYK Scoreboard. In the Go Long High School football game of the week, the 0-1 York High Bearcats played host to the 1-0 Hempfield Black Knights. The Bearcats were knocked off last week by the reigning 6A state finalist Harrisburg Cougars, the Black Knights, last season's Lancaster Lebanon Section 1 champs. Wow. Hey, the Black Knights eked out a 35-32 win over the Dallastown Wildcats last weekend.
Hempfield crossed the goal line with $1:11 left on the game clock to pull within 3 points, but were not able to convert an onside kick attempt as the York High Bearcats win 28-25 at Smalls Athletic Field.
For York, sophomore running back, 5'11", 175-pound scamp back, Cheyenne Anderson sprinted for 212 yards on 32 touches. The workhorse Anderson rushed for a touchdown in the second stanza.
Backup quarterback sophomore Najee Still took over on York's third possession and went on to toss a pair of touchdown passes, a 73-yard TD pass to David Ward in the second quarter and a 7-yard TD pass to Ward in the third quarter. York was first on the board with a defensive score on Jackie Joseph pickup 6 from 37 yards out.
Alrighty, Becky B, well done. Hempfield's two-way lineman David Palepal, a University of Southern California recruit, did not play due to a foot injury. He was on the sideline in a walking boot. Cam Margison with a pair of TD receptions for the Black Knights.
Give York special teams play a gold star as they blocked a field goal attempt on a first and goal right before the half.
You know, you win those close games and you beat good teams with good special teams play. We talked to Coach about that earlier in the year, and they came up big. Up next for York High as they hit the road jack to Mid-Penn's Carlisle. You know, and it won't get any easier for the Hempfield Black Knights as they come and take on 2-0 the Central York Panthers. Carlisle, by the way, beat the Tooltime Boys of Mechanicsburg 35-28 in Week 1, and then got knocked off by Governor Mifflin by the Mustangs 28-21 this Friday. Hey, this will be another early season test for the York High Bearcats.
I'm going with the Bearcats on this one.
All right, I like it.
And I think Central York on the other one as well. I'll take the hometown boys. The boys from the Rock, Paper Scissors traveled to Smallsville and picked up season win number 1 as the Susquehannock Warriors Rochambeau the Littlestown Thunderbolts by a score of 28-27 in not 1, not 2, but 3, a triple overtime game. For the Susquehannock Warriors, Michael Fox carried the pigskin 30 times for 173 yards and 4 TDs.
The Stangs improved to 2-0 as Southwestern pounded the Dover Eagles 31-12 at the Corral behind center. Quarterback Bryce Graham tossed for 273 yards of airmail and 2 passing TDs to lead the Stangs in the W.
The Fawn Grove boys caught the bus to Papertown and picked up win number 1 as the Kennerdale Rams win over the Spring Grove Rockets 28-21. Quarterback Jesse Sharp stuck one up for the Kennerdale win.
Alrighty, the Red Line Lions playing at home at historic Hornfield pounded the Dogtown boys of West York 20-6. For the Lions, Chris Price was right as he carted a passing and rushing TD. Remember that show, The Price is Right?
Yeah.
Just the one?
Did you see Bob Barker just passed away
I
recently?
did not see that. All right.
He did.
With his family. The
Yeah.
Price is right. Chris Price was right.
Here's a statement win.
It is.
The Central York Panthers improved to 2-0 by tossing a shutout over Mid-Penn powerhouse Cumberland Valley Eagles by a score of 14-0. For Central, star running back Ulysses Goff carried the ball 26 times for 119 yards. Goff now has 403 rushing yards in 2 games this season.
All right, I'm just going to pause here for a second and tell you about this, guys.
Tell me about
when you take on Cumberland Valley and you run the ball at them and you have one of your running backs as Ulysses Goff goes over 100 yards, let me tell you, that is good line play. The Central York Panthers, and let me tell you.
Okay, give a gold star to those big boys on the line,
Yeah. I mean, that's an impressive win. It really is. Alrighty. In the Aunt Nellie, grab him by the ear, drag him out behind the woodshed. Oh, give him a good old-fashioned whooping. Game of the week. The Golden Boys of Eastern York improved to 2-0 as they spanked the Fairfield Green Knights 32-0. Quimby Eskimo Bramble hit the air, completing 16 of 28 for 231 yards. And New Sal Valentine with 3 rushing TDs for the Eastern York Golden Knights. And just in case you're keeping score at home, in 2 games this season, the Golden Boys have hung 78 points on the scoreboard while giving up the big goose egg.
That's pretty amazing.
78-0 for the Eastern York Golden Boys. Hey, it'll be fun. It'll be fun watching how they do in Division II when they get into York Adams League play.
Now, there's nobody in history that ever went with 0 points for the whole season, right?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to look that up for next week. I like it.
All right, you do it. Okay, the Manheim Township Blue Streaks are the real deal as they shellac the Wild Things of Dallastown 56-0. Hayden Johnson tossed 4 first-half TD passes before the marching band even played at intermission.
Yeah, I tell you, he's a prospect too. Hayden Johnson is. He might be as good a quarterback as you're going to find in central Pennsylvania for the Manheim Township's Blue Streaks. All right, the Nor'easters hosted Redland and fell in a heartbreaker by a score of 23-17 as the Redland Patriots win on the road over the Northeastern Bobcats 23-17.
The Suburbanites lose by 1 is the loneliest number as the Donegal Indians improve to 2-0 as they knock off the York Suburban Trojans 20-19. For the Suburbanites, signal caller Rylan Braden connected with Donovan Alicia for 2 passing TDs.
Alrighty, the Circletown Boys of New Oxford improved to 2-0 on the season as they hung 38 points on the board and hammered the Battlefield Boys of Gettysburg 38-20. Clayton Knives rushed for 124 yards for the New Oxford Colonials.
In other games featuring York Adams teams, Lancaster Catholic was 1 score better than DeLone Catholic, winning 28-21. The Camp Hill Lions tattooed York Catholic 50-7. The Columbia Crimson Tide won over the Snacktown Boys of Hanover in a high-scoring 40-34 game, and the Kutztown Cougars over the York Tech Spartans 42-7.
And the Boiling Springs Bubblers over Bermudian Springs Eagles 21-14, and the Susquehanna Blackhawks ran the Biglerville Canners through the Foley Food Mill for a Red Delicious 42-7 saucing. Hey, you've been doing some Foley Food Mill work this weekend.
I've been doing some Foley Food Mill work.
Yep.
In cross country at the Chocolate Invitational. That sounds delicious. Held at Hummelstown, Central York's Haley Green placed second in the girls' grade 11-12 division, and Central's Max Maxwell Marcini ran his way to a fourth-place finish in the boys' 9th and 10th grade division.
Already in the girls' long tennis match of the week, Becky B.
All right, the go-long tennis match of the week, the Susquehannock Warriors tossed a shutout over the Bermudian Springs Eagles to improve to 2-1 on the season, their only loss coming at the hands of the Central York Panthers earlier in the week. For the Warriors, straight set singles wins by Summer Antaquaki, India Lester, and Vicky Chen, and doubles wins by Natalia Ramirez-Snell and Mackenzie Hodge, and Sophia Vanquez and Eli Shemeses paved the way for the W. In other girls' tennis, the Red Lion Lions improved to 3-0 with a 5-0 win over the Dover Eagles. For the Lions, straight set singles wins from Lexi Lakatosh, Lakin Kelly, and Riley Watson, and doubles wins by Michaela DeVeld and Nicole King, and Gabby Linnell and Olivia Pratt lead to the Division I shutout.
Already in the go-long boys soccer game of the week, the Suburbanites improved to 2-0 with a Wednesday night win over the Golden Boys of the Golden Boys, York Suburban Trojans, with a 2-0 win over the Eastern York Golden Knights. Braden Egger found the onion net twice for the Suburbanites as they look to defend their York Adams Tournament Championship from a season ago.
York Suburban also knocked off Spring Grove on Tuesday evening by a score of 2-1. Anthony Goswed netted the game winner in the final minutes of play. And in the go-long girls soccer game of the week, the Dogtown girls traveled to Cigartown to pick up an overtime win with a 2-1 win over the Red Lion Lions. Alyssa Murray netted the game winner with an assist from Tigan Paragon.
Already, still in girls soccer, New Oxford over Biglerville 4-0 with goals from Renna Wentz, Cameron Miller, Lila Spoonseller, and Avery Lincoln. The Papertown girls over York Suburban 1-0, and Central York over Elizabethtown 3-1.
In the go-long field hockey game of the week, the Red Lion Lions over Ephrata 3-2 with goals from Kaylin Eccles, Jenna Hodgkinson, and Julia Taransky. Other winners in field hockey include the Biglerville Canners over West York, and York Suburban surprising Dallastown 2-1.
In the go-long girls volleyball match of the week, the Papertown girls improved to 2-0 with a 3-0 win over Hershey. This match, by the way, played not far from my favorite place, the Hershey Park Kissing Tower. Oh, pucker up! For Spring Grove, Kayla Orman with 18 assists, Elena Ziegler booked 15 kills and whipped 5 aces, and Mackenzie Boyer with 8 kills, 4 digs, and she pounded 3 aces as the Rockets win over Hershey.
In the go-long men's hardball game of the week, last Sunday in Game 4 of the best-of-5 of the Susquehanna League Playoffs Championship, the Pistons of East Prospect booked 7 runs in the top of the second to knock off York Township by a score of 7-5.
For East Prospect, Austin Powers Denlinger with 3 base hits and a sweet ribby. Dylan Stoops with a pair of knocks and 2-run ribby. There, the Pistons ace Southpaw Stoops also hurled the final 8 outs of the game, allowing just 1 hit.
For Township, Tyler Page with a 3-run Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead dinger, and in the bottom of the second, and Jeffrey Deviney and Micah Steberg, each with a pair of base knocks.
Alrighty, so the East Prospect Pistons won the Susquehanna League playoffs over York Township, and they're also regular season champions. And the Tooltime Boys of Mechanicsburg, they won the Central League regular season champion and also the playoff trophy over the Jefferson Titans.
Now, all 4 of these teams are playing in the Tom Kerrigan Memorial Tournament this weekend.
So true. Okay, so this is what pool play looks like in the Tom Kerrigan Memorial Tournament taking place this weekend. Hey, guys, I encourage you to get out and watch a game. It's just a fun thing to do on a Sunday and a Monday. So in Pool A, Stoverstown leads with a 3-0 record. Cecil County 2-1, South Penn 1-2, and Line Drive 0-3. In Pool B, the Jefferson Titans lead with a 3-0 record, while Pittsburgh is 2-1, Long Island 1-2. Delco is 0-3. In Pool C, hey, York Township leads with a 3-0 record. The Tooltime Boys of Mechanicsburg 2-1, Quad County 1-2, and Gettysburg, the Battlefield Boys, are 0-3. And then in Pool D, Diamond Academy 3-0. The East Prospect Pistons just 1 loss. They were 2-1 so far in pool play. The New York Hawks 1-2, and the York Stars were blanked at 0-3. So here's just some scores from yesterday. Pool A, Stoverstown 10, Line Drive 0. Stoverstown also beat Cecil County 2-1, and Stoverstown over South Penn 5-1 as they round out that day 3-0. in Pool B, the Titans, wow, they just pounded out some hits and had a hit parade going as they beat Long Island 15-4. Jefferson, the Titans, also over Delco 6-3 and over Pittsburgh 8-2. They had on their hitting hats yesterday, did the Titans of Jefferson. In Pool C, the Tooltown Boys, Mechanicsburg over Quad County 5-1, Gettysburg over York Township. York Township over Gettysburg 7-3, Mechanicsburg over Gettysburg 6-1, and then York Township beats Mechanicsburg 6-3. You think by now those two teams have,
They played each other a little bit,
yeah.
They might know each other a little bit.
And Pool D, East Prospect over the York Stars 13-0, East Prospect over the New York Hawks 8-1, and also York Prospects over Diamond Academy over East Prospect by a score of 9-4. So that's a look at the Tom Kerrigan tournament. Becky B, where are games today? Because it might be a nice day to get out to the old Diamond to watch a ball game.
All right, starting on the first round today at 10 o'clock, East Prospect is going to take on Quad City, and that's going to be held at Stoverstown. And then the winner of that game will be playing Stoverstown at 12:30. If you head on down to Manchester, you'll see Mechanicsburg against the New York Hawks at 10 o'clock. The winner of that game takes on Jefferson at 12:30. Going out to Shiloh, you have Cecil County playing Long Island at 10 o'clock. The winner of that game will match up against York Township at 12:30. And then, last but not least, if you head over to Mount Wolf and get one of those good Italian ices, you'll see Pittsburgh against South Penn at 10 o'clock, and they'll be playing, the winner of that game will be playing Diamond Academy at 12:30 at Mount Wolf.
Okay, now, Becky B, some of these teams are going right to the quarterfinal games. Tell us about those real quick also.
Well, I think I already did, because I told you the winners of the 10 o'clock game
are going to be playing at 12:30. Well, then let's do this. You're talking about grit. Yeah, there's your grit. I'm testing your grit out.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
Alrighty, hey, give us an idea of the Go Long High School golf match.
Alrighty, in the Go Long, and some of these players do hit long. High school.
Change the name from Becky B to Becky Grit. Becky Grit.
Just quit yapping. Okay. In the Go Long High School golf match of the week, in York Adams High School golf, last year's District 3 2A champions, the DeLone Catholic Squires, were 2 strokes better than the York Catholic Fighting Irish in a York Adams Division 3 match held at Gettysburg National. York Catholic's Olivia Curry led all golfers shooting a 76, and Evan Glass led the Squires with a 79. Later in the week, Olivia Curry fired an 80 as she led York Catholic to a Division 3 win.
And on Thursday, the Central York Panthers continued their division run as they fired a team score of 312 at Outdoor Country Club. 4 strokes better than second place Dallastown. Central was led by sophomore Dallas Give 'em an inch, and he'll take a mile with a 72 for the Wild Things senior Lane Gross, also firing a 72. And don't forget the Wild Things of Dallastown. They've won 2 straight District 3 Big Boy Championships. But you know what?
Right.
Only one of these teams are going to get into District 3s from the York Adams League. So,
ooh, that's tough.
And right now, the Central York Panthers have, they've picked up a few of these wins already. So,
hey, it's early in the season.
Dallastown looking to three-peat. But, there's not many strokes. I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 strokes in these matches. Separates the winners.
And if I'd step in there, I would be down by 50 strokes to begin with.
Yeah, well, me too. Alrighty, the York Revolution hit the road jack and extended their winning streak to 5 consecutive games. That's 5, friend.
Woo!
With a 9-6 victory over the High Point Rockers on Saturday night. With the W, York pulls into a tie with Southern Maryland for second place, and they move within 2 games of the Lancaster Barnstormers for first place with 14 games to play in the regular season.
Now, that team will have some grit. I'm predicting they're going to keep crawling up the ranks.
True.
All right, the Rev starter, Pedro Vazquez, picked up his 8th win of the season to just 3 losses. Vazquez twirled 6 strong innings, giving up just 1 run while improving to 6-0 on the road this season. The 5-game winning streak is the Revs' first since late in the first half. They have also won 7 of the last 9 and 8 of the last 11 games overall.
All right, today's first pitch at 4:05 will be York's right-handed Andrew Cabezas. He's 4.65 ERA. He's going to face High Point Southpaw Brandon Leibrandt with a 3.83 ERA. Revs fans, you can catch the action live here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM, 1350 AM, 98.9 WYK WOYK.com, the new WOYK app, and flowbaseball.tv. Today, beginning coverage at 3:45. The best that I know, Darrell Henry, will be on the call. So, it might be a fun day. Sit out at the ballpark, watch one of these Tom Kerrigan Memorial Tournament games, and put in your earphones and
take
listen to
the
Darrell
old
Henry.
transistor radio.
Okay, listen to Darrell Henry with the call. Alrighty, friends, today's go long topic is grit. And I think it's easy to say Christian athletes, Christian coaches, you need grit, but I think, all of Christians need some grit. And I would say, you may say, well, what is grit? What does grit look like? And, do you have grit? Becky B has grit. We've already figured that out. The Bible terms for grit from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 58 is steadfastness. And from Luke chapter 21, verse 19, endurance. When you think of steadfastness, you think of determination, right? Despite what's going to come your way, despite the obstacles that happen in all of our lives, and they will happen, my friends, and they do happen. And endurance is to keep your focus on your long-term goals, I think, despite, again, challenges that come our way, and when we get tired and we start losing some of our confidence. So today's topic is grit. So Becky B, before we look at the Bible and see what the Bible has to say, what do you think grit looks like? I mean, what does it look like to you?
Well, I think Jimmy Valvano used to say, "Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up." And I think that's kind of what grit is. You set a goal and you keep working toward it. It's kind of like chipping off the old block. If you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, well, then you best be keeping forward again. And just, keep your eye on the prize and keep heading towards that.
Yeah, Angela Duckworth, a writer who wrote about grit, the power of passion and perseverance, she talked about grit being linked to, again, perseverance, but also what I like the connection is on long-term goals. Obviously different than the day-to-day, right? Because the day-to-day, we're going to lose. I mean, we're going to get knocked down every now and then. I don't care who you are. Even if you're Eastern York, somebody's going to score on you, right? I mean, you got to get up. You got to get up and get the next play, right?
Yes.
Next man up, next woman up mentality. Mm-hmm. And Paul does address this in the book of Philippians chapter 3 verses 12 through 14 when he says this, "Not that I have already obtained all this or have already arrived at my goal, but I press on to take hold of that for which Jesus Christ took hold of me. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. I press on toward the goal to win the prize which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." So again, long-term goal. So when you think of grit, in my mind, as an athlete, as a coach, as a lover of sports, I'm thinking of, okay, where do you want to be long-term? Because you may get injured. You may get knocked down. You may get whooped. You may get Aunt Nellie'd sometime, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Not may. You will.
But you don't put your tail between your legs and go out and whimper behind the woodshed. You get up and you keep on going.
Absolutely. And I would even say that you can apply grit to relationships. Because day to day, you're going to get mad at somebody. Day to day, you're going to take offense at what somebody says or what somebody does, right? Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse. But you got to look toward the long-term goals, as Paul stated in the Philippians, and especially as a Christian. What are we fighting for, right? And that is for the promise that Christ has given us for eternal life through a forgiveness of sins because of his death on the cross. Becky B., your thoughts on grit?
Just keep on keeping on. As you set your goals, and it might be helpful to post those goals where you see them frequently, or to have them someplace where when you get knocked down you can look up again and remind yourself what are the goals I'm facing here, what am I aiming for.
Yeah. From the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 13, "For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. From the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 through 5. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, you ready for this? Consider it an opportunity for great joy, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. And
I can't say that I have ever rejoiced when I've been faced with a problem.
True, but think of it as an opportunity, right? When we're not
down. It sounds like Wayne McCullough. This isn't a problem. This is an opportunity for us to fix it.
It is an opportunity to grow. When people reject us, when we don't do well, when we don't succeed, when a friend is upset at us, it's an opportunity for us to grow, as James in the book of James talks about, right? Mm-hmm. Through endurance, through the long-term goal, because the short term, we're messed up. I'm messed up in the short term. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. The short term things don't always go right. But the long term, the focus on endurance and focus, just knowing that everything we do through Christ will give us strength. So, my friends, here's a challenge. Think about it. Think about it through prayer, through Bible study, through discipline, and think about the steps that you want to take to build up your grit, your spiritual perseverance. And I really believe, and I have experienced firsthand, that long-term goal of oneness and closeness with Christ is one that is wonderful. Becky B., your final thoughts.
Well, I think one of the biggest role models in our lives that we can look at for grit is, some of our ancestors who lived through the Depression. I think of your grandmother McCullough, who, raised, basically her husband had passed, they had a farm, and they lost basically everything, and she didn't give up. She just kept that faith in God and said, through God we can live through anything, we can do anything, and she was always strong in her faith till the day she died.
Absolutely. By the grace of God, we can have endurance, we can have perseverance, and my friends, we can have some grit. Alrighty, we'll be right back after this message from our sponsors. Hey, we're going to talk live with Brad Hayek, your Catholic head football coach and athletic director.
Hey, WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are homes sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717.
When you have talent like this, we're gonna brag about it. From Colin Cowherd, Dan Patrick, Doug Gottlieb, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, Jonas Knox, Ben Maller, Rob Parker, Chris Broussard.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Jason Smith, RJ Bell, and Mike Carmen.
There's gonna be some saltiness about that.
This is more than a lineup. This is the lineup. They live right here on Fox Sports Radio. This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
Favre and Aaron Rodgers are not the same person, but they're becoming the same Green Bay quarterback. You've seen those commercials, those Progressive insurance commercials where you start becoming your parents. They're actually very, very funny. Aaron's becoming Favre, whether he wants to be it or not. He's getting kind of rigid. He doesn't want to change certain things. Favre got very rigid. I don't want to learn a new offense. Aaron's like, I want Randall Cobb and my 70-year-old quarterback coach. They're becoming the same guy. And I've always called this the Green Bay Packer quarterback syndrome. In Green Bay, the quarterback runs the franchise. If Aaron keeps mentioning, I don't know if I'm going to play, the team that gets him doesn't have to give up many picks. Because Aaron's not going to go play for a crappy team. He'll just retire. Tennessee's the team I put out there.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Wow.
Weekdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Can't get enough of the birds? Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350 WOYK has you covered. Join us all season on Mondays at 6 for the Baltimore Baseball Show, hosted by award-winning Orioles and National Baseball writer Dan Connolly from The Athletic Baltimore. Exclusive in-depth interviews, plus the latest insight and analysis on the Orioles every week. Talking baseball and the birds every Monday at 6. The Baltimore Baseball Show on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Naya kicks the pitch. Swung on. Hit deep. Left center field. Has he done it again? Has he done it again? He did it! Rhys Hoskins with a 2-run game-tying homer here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And it's 6-6.
You're on York's home for the Phillies.
Welcome back to Go Long. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me, Becky B. And with us live, head football coach of the York Catholic Fighting Irish. She's also the athletic director at York Catholic, Brad Hayek. Coach Hayek, thanks for being with us. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. First of all, 2 games into your non-league season. Tell us about your team. Tell us about these Fighting Irish.
Well, we're a young team, and we have a lot of underclassmen are playing with minimal experience. We did return a couple guys from last year. 2 guys on the offensive line. Some of our skill guys that are returning, but as we're watching film this morning, we're sitting here in a meeting. Our inexperience right now is probably our downfall, and that's what we're just working on right now, is trying to get these kids up to speed. Hopefully the first 2 games were enough for them to become more comfortable out in the field, but we know, moving forward, this is going to be one of those years where we're just going to have to not take baby steps, but we're going to have to work with our guys and improve each week.
Now, Coach, you talked about that this was an inexperienced team. So they're going to take some lumps. How are you going to build grit in this team?
Well, I think it's just about playing the game right now. They're learning that while they're out in the field. Our numbers aren't the best this year, so we limit what we do during the week to avoid, injuries and stuff like that. We definitely don't want to lose anybody during practices. So those experiences about grit, out in the field, learning is all going to be hands-on and while they're playing a game. So we hope they pick up those experiences that they need to play the game all 4 quarters, in the next week or so, or next couple weeks.
Coach, I know you're a great teacher of the game. I've heard many coaches throughout the York Adams League say this guy can teach fundamentals of football. So well done with that. When I think of York Catholic football, I think of skilled positions, right? I mean, you win with skilled players, and you can develop and teach that throughout the year. That's one of the beautiful things about teaching high school football.
Yeah, I think, we have a, tremendous staff here. Coach Matt Sense and I have been doing this since basically 2005. He's an excellent teacher, very offensive mind. Well, he's a football-minded person, but offense is his specialty. And, we just have to take what we have and build off of that. We don't have maybe the most explosive offense right now, but as we're watching film, we're going to take the good things and try to build off of those and improve the things that we didn't do very well in the last couple of weeks. And but I think we know our limitations, and I think each week is to build off of that and try to get better and better, and hopefully improve in those areas that you talked about with our skill guys. Again, it's just get these guys out in the field, get the experience. There was 2 very good football teams that we played the last 2 weeks, so we can't take anything away from them. But now it's just about building and getting better each week.
I'm glad you brought that up. If I was the head football coach at York Catholic, I think I'd give a stern looking at the athletic director and say, "Why? How'd you do this early season schedule, right?"
Believe me, he's had many conversations already about that. So, we're definitely in contact with the AD on this one.
Alrighty, Brad Hayek, your Catholic head football coach and athletic director. Coach, I know you're extremely busy this time of year as being football coach and athletic director. That daggone alarm clock must go off pretty early in the morning with all you have to do.
The alarm clock does, but I think the brain starts working sooner than that. So I'm up before the alarm clock goes off.
All right. Now, Coach, tell us a little bit, how do you manage being the athletic director and the football coach? I know you can work ahead a lot of things, but, you have those things that you just can't help. Rainouts and, well, not too much this year thus far, but rainouts, field changes, and so forth. How can you do that when it's time for you to be coaching, when you have to juggle those other things as well?
My football staff is they know my situation, and we're prepared that if something were to happen, that I would something like that,
Alrighty, Brad Hayek, the head football coach at York Catholic and athletic director. My friend's great teacher of football, well-respected, a gentleman, just a hard worker. So, Coach, I look forward to following this York Catholic Fighting Irish team as you get better week in, week out. Thanks for being with us, Coach. I look forward to chatting with you as the season goes on.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, my friends, we'll be right back after this message from our sponsors, Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. We'll be back with the splendid Spartan himself, Scott Geis, right after this.
Hey, WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are home sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-818-1200.
Can't get enough of the birds? Sports Radio 98.9 and 1350 WOYK has you covered. Join us all season on Mondays at 6 for the Baltimore Baseball Show, hosted by award-winning Orioles and National Baseball writer Dan Connolly from The Athletic Baltimore. Exclusive in-depth interviews plus the latest insight and analysis on the Orioles every week. Talking baseball and the birds every Monday at 6. The Baltimore Baseball Show on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Naya kicks the pitch. Swung on, hit deep, left center field. Has he done it again? Has he done it again? He did it! Rhys Hoskins with a two-run game-tying homer here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And it's 6-6.
You're on York's home for the Phillies.
And welcome back to go along with us now, the splendid Spartan himself. Gosh, it's always nice to talk with Scott Geis. Scott, I'm looking forward to hearing how you are doing, but let's kick it off with a Spartan Sport fall preview. So get going there, Scott.
Sure. I think we're going to have a pretty good fall this year. We have a bunch of teams that got started this weekend. In fact, we have some games today. But a lot of excitement around our programs. I'll start off with field hockey. They're 13th in the country coming in, posted a 1-0 win yesterday. They went up to Scranton and beat Scranton 1-0. And actually, Scranton had the first shot of the game and then didn't have another shot the remaining 56-32 of the game. So a good job by the ladies defensively. But I think we have a chance to be really good. And went to the NCAA tournament last year, was the runner-up against Messiah in the conference, and actually posted an NCAA win over to Sales before losing to Salisbury in the second round. But really good squad, a lot coming back. Coach Katie Foss has done an outstanding job with this program, and they're going to have a pretty tough schedule. Their opponent's winning percentage is well north of 70% last year, and we'll get to see one of those games on Wednesday at home against number 2 Johns Hopkins. So lot of fun looking at that squad. On the men's side for men's soccer, a lot coming back. Coach Sheffy has done a really good job with recruiting. They dropped their season opener to Cabrini 1-0, but they'll be at home today at 3 o'clock against Juniata. He has a lot of talent coming back, and I think as he continues to find those right kids, we're going to have an opportunity to be pretty good. And I don't know if you remember last year, they had some things. They dealt with the death of a player, which was really, really tough. But I expect them to have a good year, and they'll should be contenders in the MAC. Obviously Messiah brings back a boatload of guys, a bunch of fifth years, and they should be, again, the team to beat. But I think we got a pretty good shot to give them a run on the men's side. On the women's side, Coach Kelly Wakeman has a unbelievably young team. We have 11 sophomores and 12 freshmen. So anytime you're dealing with youth like that, that's pretty tough. But actually, we played well. We lost to F&M on Friday night, but it was one of those things where we played really well. Just not quite enough yet, but this is going to be a fun team to watch. I fully expect, and you and I have had many conversations over the years. I remember particularly with basketball as Coach Hunter was building it up, where you're like, okay, by the end of the year, this team's going to be pretty good, and I think that's the case for women's soccer. Volleyball, a pretty experienced core coming back, so see what they can do. They went 2-2 this weekend at Gettysburg, and will really be in position to try and contend. They really missed the MAC Commonwealth tournament by a game last year, by a tiebreaker actually. So I know one of the goals is to get back in the MAC tournament and see what they can do, and we'll go from there. So cross country again got started this weekend. Ran at Shippensburg, looking to kind of climb up in the MAC Commonwealth Championship standard. MAC overall tongue-tied there. Not Commonwealth, just MAC. Last year the men finished 7th and the women finished 10th, and I think the goal is for them to both be inside the top 5 this year for the conference championship. So women's golf and tennis also play, or women's golf, men's golf, and men's and women's tennis also play in the fall, but their championship season's in the spring. So we got a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to believe it's we're already started.
You know what? Time goes by quickly. Not long ago,
very quickly.
I guess, yes. I don't know how it happens, but not long ago, your college transitioned into the MAC conference. The good and the bad. What's the thoughts on it right now, Scott?
Oh, I think it's been great for us. I think it's a better experience for our student athletes. The travel alone, when you are coming, I'll just use basketball as an example because they play mostly night games during the week. You play an 8 o'clock men's basketball game at Alvernia, you're done with the game by 10, you're home by 11:30. If we were playing at Mary Washington on a Wednesday, we wouldn't get home till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So, I think just from a travel perspective, it's better. I think from a competition standpoint, it's great. It's a very balanced league, and you get a lot of natural rivalries, which I think is cool. That's one thing we never had in the CAC, is you never really had a rival. You had teams you loved to beat, of course, but you didn't have a rivalry. And I think now, we have some great rivalries with Messiah, some of the other schools. Messiah's the one. They're really good in a lot of stuff, so it's fun to compete against them and have an opportunity to measure up and see how you are. And certainly they have had some really good fall teams the last couple of years, and we've been doing pretty well in the spring, and winter's been kind of a toss-up. So I think you look at it and it's just different in a good way. I think this is everything. I think this change was everything we'd hoped it'd be, and has really proven to be a great thing for our institution and our student athletes.
Now, Coach, you were talking about a rivalry with Messiah. I have a quick story about a rivalry with Messiah.
Okay.
Messiah and E-Town have long had a soccer rivalry. In fact,
marshmallow game.
They
right?
have the marshmallow game. They have actually gotten to the point where they don't frisk people, but they kind of check their bags and so forth on the way into the Messiah E-Town game to see if there are any marshmallows, because I don't care. Even after they check their bags, the marshmallows just seem to come out in the middle of the game. Have you developed anything like the marshmallow game?
Not quite anything like that, which I think is cool. I love stuff like that. I love, one of the great things about, college rivalries is, things like that you hear about. And we haven't quite developed that yet, but it's been a lot of fun just competing against them, really competing against everybody in our league has been great. I think the one thing you notice is we're a lot more alike, the schools in the MAC than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the league with Christopher Newport that has a huge school and, unending resources, we're not the same as Christopher Newport. We're just not. Whereas I think we're very similar in size and scope to the schools we're now competing against in the conference, and that's a really cool thing. And I think that's something that's a huge positive for us. But I would love for us to be able to figure that out. Though I would guess that marshmallows get a little messy if it rains.
I would think. And
I really think so.
And Scott, you're exactly right. When I look at the colleges that you're competing against, they all have a strong academic base. These are student athletes that we're talking about, and yes, they're great athletes. They put their heart, soul, lots of grit into it as well. But in the end, they're there for a degree, and that's the bigger purpose. So just looking at the high standard that all these schools hold academically, as well as some really strong athletics, is neat to see it across the board.
Yeah, I think one thing that gets lost sometimes. We talk about sports, and obviously I work in sports, so it's really important to me. Some of the proudest times I have is when kids come back for like alumni games or, special events and they're talking about the things they're doing now. And you just see how excited and passionate they are about what they do for a living. And I think that is a really awesome thing to see. And it's something that makes me super proud because I know how hard these kids have worked to be really good athletes, but also how hard they've worked to be really good at their profession. And the fact that they're probably, as they go along, they're going to have kids and be great parents and be great spouses, and just in general be great people. I think that's really a big thing for me, to get to see that as they move along in their lives. And I've been there at York long enough where I get to the point where we're starting to have kids of people who play for us, and that's.
Ooh, you're not getting old, are you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Friday night was the start of year 29, so I guess it's kind of crazy, but it's awesome. It's awesome to see. I had one of our women's soccer goalies who's a freshman come in. My dad says hi to you, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and I kind of put the name together, and I wonder if, and then she comes up while we were doing headshots and goes, my dad just wanted me to say hi to you, and he doesn't know if you remember. I'm like, of course I remember. I'm like, so it's really neat to have that experience. And it's one of those things where the years literally have just started to fly by, and much like the summertime has flown by, but it's great to. It's great to get the opportunity to be a part of that and to kind of be ingrained in the fabric of what we're doing athletically. And, it's awesome to be back at it again for another year.
One of the things I find awesome, Scott, is the great relationship, the great partnership between York College and WOYK. Darrell Henry bringing live broadcasts of York College men and women's basketball, for example. It's just a great partnership of local sports. Your thoughts?
Oh, I'm so thankful for it. I mean, we probably have the best broadcasting deal in Division III hoops, and actually Darrell's kind of branched out. We've been doing some baseball and softball before he starts with the Revs each year. So, no, very thankful for Darrell. One of my dear friends who I've been so thankful that has been put in my life. I remember him as a starstruck little freshman trying to find his way, and just how much he's blossomed and what he's done, and certainly the accomplishments of his professional life is pretty awesome. So, it's great to see, and I look forward. I actually I do a little scoring over at the Revs. Have done that a little bit this summer, so I get to see him a little bit more regularly, and very thankful for that. It's been a lot of fun. And I just, we have so much fun together when he's when he's on campus, and just again, very thankful for that relationship and the fact that he's decided to stay local. I thought for a long time he'd have the ability, if he wanted to go, and climb the ladder a little bit, but he does such an amazing job for the Revs, does an amazing job for us. And, one of the things that is great about that is his passion for York College and for his alma mater is just pretty awesome.
Well, and I worked with Daryl when he was a young man also in the WYK studios. There is nobody that prepares better than Daryl. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm coming in there with my feet propped up and a couple pages of notes, and Daryl's got color graphed data and all kinds of, I mean, it's just incredible. Incredible.
The preparation is awesome. And to think he does that for every single Revs game and every single York College game. It's, even baseball, which he's kind of doing, for us, kind of on the side, and he comes in ready to roll, and we'll be doing a broadcast together, and he'll bring up a note, and I'm like, I didn't even know that, which is pretty cool. Though his preparation is far better than mine sometimes. But no, it's incredible to have somebody who has dedicated themselves to making things better in their own community and decided to stick around. So we're very thankful for that, and certainly very thankful for the relationship we have with everybody at the station. It's been pretty awesome.
Yep, and I share that thankfulness as well. Scott, one quick thing before we go along with you. We have a lot of local athletes and coaches that listen to us Sunday mornings, and I'm telling you this, guys, if I'm a local athlete in today's world and I'm a parent, I think staying home at York College is a great deal. First of all, great education, as Becky B stated. Secondly, it's affordable. It's still one of the best deals you can get. But secondly, if you're an athlete, some of the best facilities you'll find in Division III. And then to boot, you want to talk about celebrating successes. Well, Scott Geis, you and your sports information team celebrate the success of your student athletes better than any other Division III, and I'm going to say almost any other NCAA team in the nation. I just love going to your website and seeing the work that you do. It's just absolutely amazes me. So I'm telling you, if you're a local athlete, it's time to stay home. You're going to get the deal here.
I appreciate that, and there's a lot of good people in my profession that do a great job. And what it comes down to is we have great kids, we have great coaches. They make my job pretty easy, and that's something that I'm very thankful for. Again, I've been at York for a long time, and we've had some unbelievable accomplishments, some high highs, and sometimes you get some low lows. But for the most part, it's been a lot more highs, and certainly it's so much fun to get to document our student athletes' success and the paths that they've taken. And it really is kind of humbling to have kids come back and talk about what a great memory they have of being a Spartan. And I think that for me is one of the best things. As you get a little older in life, you appreciate things a little bit more. I think I appreciate what we have at York a lot. And obviously we have great facilities. Obviously we have great academic reputation. But what really matters is the people and the relationships that you build over the course of time. And I think to me that is, if we didn't have all that other stuff, we would still have those relationships. So to me, that's one of the most important things. And obviously we love having people. Our freshman class this year is as big as it's been in a long time, and that's a credit to a lot of people at the college. But I think people are kind of around here are realizing and have realized that this is a great alternative, especially if you're a student athlete.
The splendid Spartan himself, Scott Geis. Scott, let's go long. Today's Bible topic is grit. And I think
I love that.
Yeah, I think the Bible.
I love that.
Yeah, I think the Bible talks about grit in terms of steadfastness from the book of Corinthians and endurance from the book of Luke. Describe grit, because when I think of grit, Scott Geis comes to mind. You've had to have some grit, buddy.
Yeah, but I think it's important to have. To me, grit is just something that is so. It's just a deeply personal thing, and it's something that you're going to put when you set your mind to be determined to accomplish something. I think that takes a lot of grit, because a lot of times you're going to run into some difficulties, you're going to run into some challenges, and you have to make the decision whether is this something I want to do. And if it is, it's going to take a level of grit and determination to be able to accomplish that. And I think sometimes it's just hard to describe sometimes. It's just a level of, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to make sure that I accomplish what I want to accomplish. And I think it takes grit, and I think it takes a determination that, it sometimes is unseen. I always like to say, a lot of times people are fighting battles that you don't even know about. And they're displaying grit by showing up to work every day and doing what they need to do. And I think that's a really appropriate thing, I think, for me, in terms of some of the things I've dealt with. And so I think that's a great word, and I think it's a word that everybody can. It's a word and an action that everybody can do. It's just a matter of putting your mind to it and really pushing forward.
Well, speaking of grit, Scott, you're showing up now. You said you're 29, correct?
Yes.
And 29 years, right? And
I wish I was 29.
Yeah.
So I know a lot more now than I did at 29. So I don't want to wish any years away.
Absolutely, and some of our listeners may remember that you are currently going through some treatments. Do you want to give us a quick update on that?
Oh, no, that's fine. So, diagnosed with colorectal cancer back in 2021. Was feeling really good and got a scan probably a couple months ago. Had 2 little spots on my liver, which is where it had metastasized to. Not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, but it's not. So I've gone back and doing chemo treatment. We're going to try and shrink those suckers down and then get them zapped, and hopefully we'll be in the clear. But it's an eternal journey. I think it's something that's going to be with me for a while. And the mentality of, hey, we just got to go what we have to do. So I actually started treatment on Monday. We'll do 4 2-week treatments, and we'll go from there and see what it is. But I feel good right now. We've kind of gotten back to it this summer. My wife and I we'll take the dogs out for a walk, and then we'll go walk, and we've been doing a lot of that, so I feel really good. And know how blessed I am. It's amazing how many people you have in your corner, and I've certainly been very fortunate with that, with messages and cards, and it's been cool to see, and it'll be even cooler when I'm finally done with this. But it might take a little bit, but we'll get there.
All right.
We'll go from there.
Well, today on Go Long, we celebrate the splendid Spartan Scott Geist. Scott, for all you have done for our community, for all you have done for the student athletes and coaches at York College, we celebrate you. Thank you for what you have done, and you are in our prayer for a speedy recovery. So, Scott, thanks for being with us. We look forward to touching base with you again soon here on Go Long.
Sounds good. Thanks, Wayne. Have a great week.
Alrighty, so Becky B., when you close in prayer for us, please.
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this time together, and we just thank you for the beauty of the earth that you've given us. We just thank you, Lord, for the many people that surround us and help us through life's journey. We just ask, Lord, that you continue to be with us throughout the week, and especially those people that we've been praying for. We ask prayers for Scott as he continues his chemo treatments, and give him the strength and the grit, Lord, as he continues to go through these treatments and to keep his eye on the prize the long way away. We just ask that you be with Caleb as he's recovering from his broken foot, and ask that foot heals well, and with Pam as she's recovering from her surgery to set her arm. We just please continue to be with Lisa and Diane and Sharon as they continue their recoveries. Lord, many people are traveling this weekend, and please be with them as they enjoy their last long weekend of the summer, and give them safe travels as they continue on. We just thank you, Lord, for giving us the ability to have grit, and for giving us the strength and perseverance to go through our lives, and we just thank you for the many, many blessings that you have given us.
And dear Heavenly Father, again, we ask that through your grace we can have endurance and perseverance and grit, just not to get through the daily life, but we can look at our long-term goal and our long-term promise from you, which is salvation, which is just a beautiful, beautiful gift you have given to us. In Jesus' name we pray. pray. Becky B, what a nice show we have today. Thank you again to Scott Geis and also Brad Hayek, our guests for today. Alrighty, my friends, thank you to Kelsey Jean and Collie Jane from Red Barn Home to Scores, where home staging makes dollars and cents. So, my friends, the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. For Sports Radio 98.9 FM, 1350 AM WOYK, first in York and first in sports, this is Dr. Wayne McCullough and Becky B saying go long.